you know, in some ways, it was like a cloud, and I just wanted to kind of get it over with and get it out there. You know, my goal, my intention is after we're done here is, you know, I don't want to think about cancer anymore. I want to focus and think about our season and how we can win some basketball games.
You could have just not said anything.
I could have, but you know, it was going to get out. I mean, the circle for a number of different reasons, you know, kept getting a little bit bigger, and quite honestly, I didn't like keeping it a secret from you know, from a lot of folks. You know, I think I had, you know, very valid and good reasons for not saying anything initially, but I didn't want my players to hear from someone else. I didn't want friends to hear from someone else. I felt, I don't know if guilty is the right word, but when folks would come up to me just kind of randomly and ask, you know, Coach, how you doing? And I knew by the tone of their voice what they were talking about. You know, not being able to be fully honest, you know, and say, no, I'm feeling great, which, well, not I am feeling great, but you know, I just wanted to kind of get past that. And then the second part of it, quite honestly, is to be able to potentially maybe, you know, can we help somebody else? And my wife, obviously, as was revealed yesterday, she started a fundraiser for American Cancer Society and Coaches versus Cancer called Hope Lodge, and trying to raise funds for families that you know, are dealing with cancer, and trying to I guess defray some of the costs that they may have that you know, that can be a burden on a lot of folks.
Jeff, you mentioned business as usual. Has the recurrence at all to date limited your job duties in any way?
Absolutely not. I mean, I dare anybody to you know, come up with you know, a way that it has you know, negatively impacted you know, me or our team or our program. You know, I think, quite honestly, the my hip and having a hip replacement was more of a detriment to my coaching than the reoccurrence. So you know, I don't expect, and I can't imagine that anything's going to happen certainly anytime soon to, you know, to have any kind of a negative impact or even be noticeable, quite honestly.
You're still going through, you know, your journey. Why was it so important, especially with it being, you know, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, for you to kind of let people know this story and, you know, let them know that, hey, I'm going through something as well, and I can relate to your struggles as well?
You know, you're not going to believe this, but I didn't know until a day or two ago that this is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. This was not planned. It's just something that happened. It's a good thing, I think. And again, the same way that I said this a couple years ago when I initially was diagnosed and had surgery, you know, if I can help bring awareness to this, because one of the things I found out when I was diagnosed initially is that this is not an exclusive club. You know, there's a whole lot of men out there that have prostate cancer. Now, there's varying degrees, I guess, of that, but you know, I want to make sure that you know, that men get tested, and you know, I feel good about the fact that my brother and my father, at the very least, you know, they have that. You know, there's been plenty of other individuals that have contacted me, and they, you know, have indicated that, you know, because, you know, I came out, that they decided to go get their PSA checked. So I think that's a good thing, and so, again, bringing awareness to something like this, you know, maybe there's some good that can come out of it.
You're obviously a fighter. I mean, what goes into the fight for cancer?
You know, for me, it's not it's not thinking about it a whole lot. I mean, for me, I think I have the ability to compartmentalize, and rather than spending a whole lot of time thinking about prostate cancer, I just try to go about doing my daily routine and doing my job and living my life. But you know, one thing I'm very fortunate. I feel great. You know, there are people out there that are suffering from other cancers, or you know, that you know, their situation is a lot more serious. I mean, I take mine very seriously, but at the same time, you know, I'm not wringing my hands and thinking, you know, woe is me. You know, to me, I'm really fortunate. I'm blessed, and you know, I'm going to go on and try to you know, keep doing the stuff that I'm doing. There's no reason why I shouldn't.
Jeff, you devoted your professional life obviously to basketball. You know, it's kind of an all-consuming thing at times. Is that kind of a haven? Is that something you can just delve into? And you mentioned not want to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it always has been. I mean, you can, and it's amazing in athletics, and it doesn't have to be coaches, it doesn't have to be basketball, but it's amazing how in athletics people can, as you say, that you can kind of just get lost in your sport, and I think that's you know, that's certainly the case with me, and you know, that's what I would be doing anyway, I guess. So, but it does give you a place, not to hide, but to go and to focus on something that you love rather than focus on something negative.
You mentioned encouraging other men to get tested. It was an insurance policy, physical, right, that originally popped up your first diagnosis. Had you been tested previously, if you had not been applying for this insurance policy, is there a chance you wouldn't have been tested, maybe even to this day?
Absolutely. That's a complete different reason why I feel very fortunate and blessed, because I had never been tested before. I didn't have any symptoms, so I didn't necessarily feel compelled to do so. So, you know, and it's funny. I got an email last night, and I won't say his name, somebody I didn't know, a high school coach in the state of Ohio, the similarities between his case and mine are eerily similar. He found out trying to get life insurance, and it was the first time that he had been tested, and they found out he had prostate cancer. They went a little bit different. They did radiation, I think, from the beginning, and went through, and he's actually having prostate surgery next week. So a little bit reversed, but he's a basketball coach, and everything kind of came about in the same way. So that's an interesting coincidence, at least.
Yeah, our age, I mean, similar age?
He said he was a little bit older than me. He said he remembered watching me play at Virginia, so that was a long time ago.
We know you do a lot of work with the American Cancer Society, so how do you plan to continue that? Are you going to go with them to DC at the end of the month? Will that all happen again?
Yeah, I'm going to go back, a repeat performance on the 25th. The event in DC, it's called Lobby Day, and some 700 volunteers get together in Washington, D.C. There's a series of events, but kind of the culmination, there's a breakfast on the morning of the 25th, and that's when I'm going to speak, and John Gallagher from Hartford is going to speak, and P.J. Carlissimo, I don't know, he's not still coaching, but so you know, we'll speak at the breakfast, and we'll send the volunteers off. And the reason it's called Lobby Day is because then they go and they meet with members of Congress and lobby them for you know, more funding and legislation that you know, will benefit cancer patients.
What date's that?
September 25th.
What's the support been like from the ODU community, your team, your friends and family in this area?
I mean, it's been great. It's been humbling. I feel a little bit, I don't know, not worthy. You know, I'm doing great. You know, but you know, it's been very nice hearing from colleagues, friends, coaches from all over the country, especially hearing from a number of my former players.
Jeff, mentioning players, how did your players, what was their reaction?
It was pretty quiet. I mean, you know, we'd had about a 45-minute meeting, kind of, you know, just leading into the season, the same thing that we do every year. But then I said one more thing, and I proceeded to tell them. And you know, some of the guys were here. Ahmad and BJ, maybe Aaron Carver, were the only ones that were here when I had been diagnosed initially a couple years ago. And probably some of the guys on the team had no idea. But you know, I just tried to tell them, and again, very matter-of-factly, that you know, I'd had an occurrence, and that I found out a year ago. And one of the things I pointed out was none of you guys had any idea, so there's no reason to think that anything's going to change now. But I did, and kind of getting back to Scott's question earlier, why I wanted them to hear from me, and I felt like we were getting to a point where it was more likely that somehow or another it may get out. You know, even if it's just, you know, somebody seeing me going in to every 3 months to you know, get the shot. So I wanted to do it early, again, so we can, you know, address it. We can do this, although I didn't envision this. But then again, kind of put it to the side and move forward, and let's get back to doing what we do.
You mentioned going once every, how often for a shot?
3 months.
Is that the extent of treatment right now? What do you face with this?
Yeah, I mean that's the extent for now.
Anything else for Coach?
We have another minute 20.
You got another question? Go ahead. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Did you get a good close-up of Humphrey?
Yeah, make sure you got that on.
Yeah, but that was and that immediately my thought was like, okay, everything's the same. Everything's the same.
I'll throw another question, because I know in Harry's piece you talked about this, and just if you'd like to repeat or just elaborate, just how supportive and what an advocate Danae has been. And I think your line was, I just do what she tells me.
Yeah, well, that's a smart husband. No, I mean, she's been unbelievable, and she knows a lot more about prostate cancer than I do. She you know, she keeps up with the literature, and as I told Harry, you know, sometimes I tell her, just leave it alone. I mean, don't think about it, because I sure as heck don't. But you know, she's been great, and she's there every step of the way, and you know, she's tried to, I think, somehow get some sort of control over it, which clearly we don't. But I think you know, her efforts to raise money for Hope Lodge, I think that's a great thing, and hopefully, you know, she can be successful with that. And again, those funds can go to families where you know, it's a financial burden. You know, in Harry's piece, we did talk about, you know, the test that insurance wouldn't cover, and you know, again, another reason why I'm really lucky. I'm very fortunate and blessed. But there are people out there that might need that same scan, that might need something else, that if the insurance doesn't cover it, you know, they've got to find a way. And you know, if the Hope Lodge and what American Cancer Society does, you know, can ease the burden with housing and travel and some of the other things, some of the the things that aren't directly involved with the cancer treatment, but certainly factor in, then I think that's definitely a win.
Yeah. Have you and Danae, in the course of your journey these last couple of years, encountered families such as that who have been denied by insurance and maybe can't afford a certain test, or they're just under financial strains because of the weight of it all?
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to go very far to find cancer patients that have been turned down by insurance.
Thank you all.
All righty, thank
Appreciate
you.
your time. Thanks, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
You are welcome.